Baccarat Rouge 540, Kalan, Instant Crush. Who's going to win? Let's fight it out. Hey Fragrance family, I'm David, I'm a fragrance bro, of course your best source for everything fragrance related. Today I have a video that is going to be discussing the difference between Baccarat Rouge 540 by Maison Francis Kurkdjian versus Kalan by Parfums de Marly versus Instant Crush by Mancera. Now, all of these fragrances have been making waves in the fragrance world, and I've gotten a lot of requests to make videos about each of these and all of these together. So I thought I'd go ahead and make a video about all of these together, compare them and contrast them, and see what I think is on top and see what the differences are here. Who's going to win? All right, first, so for my full thoughts about Baccarat Rouge 540, I have a video up here. You can go and watch that. It's kind of a review in my Amber Month series that is talking a lot about what Baccarat Rouge 540 is. I'm not going to go into the detail here, but I will say that it came out first. It was made in 2014 for Baccarat, and then Maison Francis Kurkdjian released it in 2015 for his own niche line. Second place came with Kalan and with Parfums de Marly, and then third place was Instant Crush. And for full disclosure, these companies gave these to me for review, so just keep that in mind. Of course, I'm going to keep my honest thoughts here, but I just wanted to disclose that to you guys. First, let's fight out bottles real quick. It's the least important thing about this discussion, so let's just go ahead and get that out of the way. Of course, here is Mancera, Instant Crush here, and Parfums de Marly. Very standard with them. They have kind of just the standard bottles that they normally have. I like both of them equally. Mancera is a little bit on the plainer side, I think. Parfums de Marly, I think, always brings it, and they always look beautiful. And so does Maison Francis Kurkdjian, though I don't have that bottle on hand. It always looks beautiful as well. But if I'm being honest here, I think that the edge for bottle at least goes to Parfums de Marly. I think their bottles are absolutely stunning. They have just a really classy, really just beautiful bottle overall, and I love it a lot. Second place would go to Maison Francis Kurkdjian. Classic bottle, but it's square. It's a cube bottle, so you know, whatever. Next, let's duke it out with performance. Which one comes on top with longevity and projection? All of them, I think, are very, very good. I think the weakest of the bunch, though, is Baccarat Rouge 540. And when I say weak, I don't mean that it's weak at all. It actually is very nice and very good, but it sits in a more comfortable range. Whereas Kalan and Mancera both are pretty loud. Pretty beastly. And this is going to be hard because both of them are pretty strong. But I think the edge for performance goes to Instant Crush. I think it's pretty loud and pretty bold. There's just something about the way that they blend the notes together that really pushes through the air and cuts through. So I'm definitely going to give it to Instant Crush for performance. Next, let's duke out versatility. How versatile are these fragrances? Now, in my experience, I think that the most versatile definitely has to be Baccarat Rouge 540. I think because of where it sits, because of the note blend, I think it definitely has more of an everyday use, that you can use it a lot more. You can use it in several different seasons. I think you can use it in a lot of different occasions. I think that one is clearly more versatile. Also, too, I think Baccarat Rouge is a great unisex scent. I think it could smell great on men and women both. And so that is definitely even better for its versatility as well. Second place definitely goes to Mancera. Mancera has more of a floral, kind of Occidental Arabic type of take on this type of scent. And it definitely comes through with the floral saffron type of thing coming in the smell. Because of that, I think a lot of people will recognize the type of scent that this is, and they'll be used to it, and I think that's really good for versatility as well. Kalan, I don't think is as versatile. I think you're going to be using this in only specific cases. To me, it has much more of a fall, winter, night type of thing where you can only use it for that and only maybe formal occasions. I don't see you wearing this on a date or in casual uses really at all. So definitely winner there, Baccarat Rouge 540. All right, next let's go with the wow factor, or maybe I should say the compliment factor. Huh, George? Huh?
Oi, Dave. I heard that.
So there's two ways you can look at this. You can look at it as what fragrance will get you the most compliments or what fragrance makes the most impression. I don't necessarily like critiquing fragrances from a compliment point of view necessarily, but I think that you can definitely see that these are going to make impressions on people. And I think if you look at it from that point, I think that Parfums de Marly has a little bit more wow factor. It has something that's unique about it. It's a very different scent from its peers, and it has kind of this mature quality that I think is really kind of resonates with masculine tastes. And I also get like this powerful feeling there. So I think that kind of lends itself to more of a wow, bolder type of fragrance. Second place is definitely going to be Baccarat Rouge 540. That scent is magnificent for just the way that it's made. Because you can wear it every day and wear it in and out, I think you're going to make a lot of impressions. You can use it on a lot of different occasions, like I mentioned before, so I definitely think it has a lot of wow factor, but not maybe the punch that Kalan has. And third place, of course, is Instant Crush. Third place. All right, now let's talk about price. The price of Instant Crush is $180 for 120 ml, and I think that's actually a pretty good value for what you get here. The price of Kalan is $295 for 125 ml. Oof, that's pretty pricey. Parfums de Marly always brings it with the quality, so if you like Parfums de Marly, you're still getting your money's worth. It's just a higher price overall, for sure. Baccarat Rouge 540 is $300 for 70 ml. Oof. That's a tough pill to swallow. You really have to be in love with Baccarat Rouge 540 to shell out that price for 70 ml. Do I think it's worth it? That is hard to say. I'm not exactly sure. $300 for 70 ml is steep. Now the price winner, of course, goes to Instant Crush for $180 for 120 ml. I think that's a great value for what you get. However, there is definitely a difference in the way that the quality is perceived and the smell between this and the other two. I think the price is a lot better, but not necessarily the quality of the juice. You can definitely smell a quality difference in the other two. The other two are just leagues ahead in the way they smell. All right, and now the coup de grace. What do I think about the smell? How do I compare the smell of all three, and how do I choose the winner? Now, let's start with Baccarat Rouge 540, the start of it all. Now, these are often compared to Baccarat Rouge 540, which that has a lot of weight in Baccarat Rouge 540's favor. And I think that Baccarat is amazing. It's an incredible scent, and it is absolutely perfect. It sits in this really interesting place that is kind of the intersection of several different fragrances and doesn't necessarily scream any of them. So it's hard to classify in a lot of ways. I would almost just say that it's its own thing. It's a new genre in itself. It's definitely going to be an icon of scent, especially in the 2010 era. I think is perfect. Now, Kalan and Instant Crush are often compared to Baccarat Rouge 540, and I think in one aspect, that's kind of their downfall. Parfums de Marly definitely goes in almost a smokier vein, has more of a spice or pepper forward type of thing, and I smell also oak moss in there. In some ways, it kind of reminds me of their take of Baccarat Rouge 540 mixed with Latent Exclusive. And that's not a bad thing. I think Latent Exclusive is a great fragrance. And I think if they can take kind of that and put it into a Baccarat Rouge style fragrance, I think it really works. And it really does. It's a very good fragrance on its own. Mancera Instant Crush, I'm really not sold on. I don't necessarily see this as something that's really necessary for you to wear. I think there are many fragrances in this style that you could pick from already that have that rose saffron thing going on, or even that Baccarat Rouge DNA going on. This just seems like it's in it for the wave, and it's riding that wave of popularity of Baccarat Rouge, and maybe not riding it that well. The problem with these is I think that if they are kind of copying that trend or putting their own spin on the trend of Baccarat Rouge 540, I think they're trying to improve upon perfection and utterly failing. That's not to say that they're necessarily bad, but it's hard to improve upon something that's already perfect like Baccarat Rouge 540 in my opinion. And I think Kalan does a noble job in really trying to carve its way into the Parfums de Marly space with a Baccarat Rouge style fragrance. And I think it does a pretty good job. If you like Parfums de Marly and you like maybe Baccarat Rouge 540, I think this might be worth owning. Mancera, I'm not too sure. If you like the rose saffron thing and you like the Baccarat Rouge thing, maybe you might like this. I just don't necessarily think that it's as good as the other two are. So my final thoughts are definitely just go with what you really like. I mean, why did you watch this video? No, in all honesty, definitely go with whatever you like the most. If you like the more floral, the more Arabian style fragrance, I think Instant Crush is your thing. If you like Parfums de Marly and you like that smoky kind of Latent Exclusive type of thing, I think you'll like that. But I think if you want something that is truly unique and truly different, go with Baccarat Rouge 540. It is very pricey, but it is utter perfection. It is stupendous, incredible scent. I can definitely see why there's a trend of copycats of Baccarat Rouge 540. I think it's perfect. So my winner, of course, is Baccarat Rouge 540. Screw the cost, okay? It's perfect. It is an incredible fragrance, and I absolutely love it. I think that everyone at least should try it. It's easy to try from samples and stuff like Lucky Scent, so definitely go check it out. With that, I'd like to thank my sponsor, Fragrance X. Fragrance X is an online retailer that sells thousands of legitimate fragrances for a discounted price. If you're considering buying a fragrance, definitely check out Fragrance X. I'll have a link down below to them as well as a coupon. All right, so what do you think? What is your choice for winner, and what are your thoughts on the differences and similarities between the three? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to know your thoughts. And of course, if you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe on the way out. I'll love you for it. And click that little bell so you get a notification every time I make an upload. I'll see you next time. I'm Dave at the Fragrance Bros. Bye.